This is Ice Cream Sunday. Come into active child's pose. Bring your knees to the inside edges of the mat. Put the tops of your feet down, big toes to touch. Lengthen your arms long out in front of you and place your forehead onto the mat. Ease your hips and your buttocks back towards your heels, creating a lot of space in between all of your vertebrae up and down your spine. Make some subtle adjustments if you need to, so that you're more comfortable in your active child's pose. You may need to move your chin slightly forward or slightly back toward the chest so that you can find space in the back of your neck. You should feel that the neck is lengthening towards the crown of your head. Draw the shoulder blades down away from the neck and keep your shoulder blades broad, descending towards your seat. Notice if you have any gripping around where your neck meets your shoulders, and if you need to, take your arms wider so that you have more space. Adjust your inner upper thighs so that they're in contact with your low ribs. This is especially important if you have a low back issue, or you're pregnant, or your seat doesn't touch your heels yet. You want to make this adjustment so that you have support with your upper to your lower body. And then relax and start breathing deeply all over all sides of your chest. Taking inhales and exhales. Notice how your breath is feeling in your body. Notice what you're thinking about, what you're feeling emotionally. Just notice and become conscious of your breath. If you need to, take a cleansing breath or two. Cleansing breaths are in the nose and out the mouth. You can take a couple of these breaths, and they're also great to take any time throughout your day that you feel stressed or nervous, overwhelmed. Go in the nose and out the mouth. And then once you feel like your breath is flowing deeply and you can take a breath all over all sides of your chest without any hiccup or stutter or interruption, then you should start breathing evenly through your nose. You want your inhalations and your exhalations lasting the same length of time. A classic yogic breath is 5 counts in and 5 counts out. If you have a larger lung capacity, you can go up to 8 or 10 counts. And if 5 counts feels like it's too much, then 3 or 4 counts is perfectly fine. Just make your inhalation and your exhalation last the same length of time. You can also use what is called Ujjayi style breathing. This is breath that not only can you feel it, you can hear it. It's audible. And we're going to take about 4 more breaths here. This is where you want to set your intention. Today's sequence is about finding happiness in daily life. Allow yourself to go into that space, that place that has always been there and always will be, that inner place of truth. And breathe into that space. And this is where you want to set your intention from. And once you set your intention, you release it to the universe with total trust, without any conditions or expectations. You just let it go. And you return to your breath. And at the bottom of your exhalation, take your low belly in, up, and back. And on your next inhale, rise up onto all fours. Coming up onto your hands and knees, spread your fingers open really wide. Line up your wrists underneath your shoulders. Line up your knees underneath your hips. Line up your feet behind your knees. And you can choose to keep the tops of your feet down, or you can tuck your toes forward. Feel what's comfortable for you at this moment. Neutralize in your spine, lengthening the neck, taking a deep inhalation from your tailbone all the way to the crown of your head. And as you exhale, tucking your tail and rounding your back upward towards the sky. This is your cat pose. On the inhale breath, lift from your chin and chest, spine goes toward the mat, tail lifts up last. This is your cow. And then tuck in your tail, rounding your back, bringing it into cat. And we're going to move into 6 more rounds of cat-cows. You can move your hips forward and back. You can make circular motions with your hips, go in both directions an equal number of times. You may like threading the needle, taking one arm underneath the other, opening up all through your side body, shoulder, neck. And whatever you do on one side, do it on the other side for the same length of time in the same way. You may like to take your cows into upward facing dogs, or round your back so deeply in your cat that you drag up onto your fingertips. Just waking up, warming up the spine, opening up your heart, clearing in your mind. 2 more rounds of cat-cows. Breathing deeply. Inhales, upward motions like cows. Exhales, downward motions like cats. Finishing up that last round, neutralize in your spine. Tuck your toes forward, spread the fingers open wide. Taking a deep inhalation through the upper back, creating space between the shoulder blades. On the exhale, lifting your seat up and back into downward facing dog. Move your feet back an inch or 2 away from your hands so you have the proper distance in your down dog. And then we're going to walk that dog. Pedal out your feet, bending alternate knees. Take a little bit of hang time in each of your heels. Get a good deep stretch down the whole back of your leg, all the way through your Achilles tendons and into your heels. You can lift one leg, drop the heel toward the opposite buttock, open up all through the hip and side body, roll your ankle out, go in both directions an equal number of times. Do the same thing on the other side, lifting the other leg all the way up, over, dropping the heel toward the opposite buttock, rolling out the ankle in both directions the same number of times. Some people like to turn both of their feet to the left and drop the hips down to the right, and vice versa, back and forth, stretching all through the IT band, hip, side body, shoulder, even up into the neck. You can go back and forth a couple of times. And then we're going to hold our down dog for 2 more breaths. And as you hold your downward facing dog, engage as much as you can. Straight arms, straight legs, low belly, under the navel, drawn in, up and back. Relax through your neck. Down dog's a place to rest, to reconnect with the breath, and also to realign. We're going to take the left foot and step it forward for Prasarita Padottanasana. So come up with straight legs and turn your feet toward the long edge of your mat, placing your hands onto your hips. Draw your tailbone under, pull your low belly in, lift your chest, and draw the shoulder heads back. And on the exhale breath, hinge forward right where your hips meet your thighs. Placing your palms down to the floor, walking your hands back through your legs, and then grabbing your ankles into your hands from the outside. So palms of the hands are on the outer ankle bones. Draw the shoulder blades down, bend the elbows, and put your head onto the floor. The crown of your head is touching the ground. And if your head doesn't touch the ground yet, or you feel like you're hunching in your back, bend your knees generously so that you can draw your shoulder blades down away from your neck and move your entire torso more deeply through your thighs. Let's take 2 more breaths here. So modify if you need to. That's the bent knees. What really matters is that you elongate your spine and that you're not stressed or struggling as we move through these poses. Good, and then bring your hands towards your forward foot. Turn your left foot to face the top of your mat. Plant your hands down on either side, and then step back into high push-up plank. And we're going to lower all the way down slowly to the floor. Keep your hands on either side of your chest. Put the tops of your feet down, and on the inhale breath, curl and lift your chest up into Bhujangasana Cobra. And on the exhale, tuck your toes and press up and back into downward facing dog. And take a breath all the way in and all the way out. Take your right foot forward for Prasarita Padottanasana, coming up with straight legs, turning your feet toward the long edge of your mat, placing your hands onto your hips. Take an inhale breath, lifting through your chest, and on the exhale breath, hinge forward right where the hips meet the thighs. Placing the hands down onto the mat. This time we're going to do something different on this side. We're going to take a twist. So your hands come directly underneath your shoulders. And you're going to move your left hand to the center so that your left hand lines up with your chin. Take your right arm and lift it upward towards the sky, coming into this beautiful twist. Keep your hips level. Try not to let the outer hip drop down. Pull in your low belly. Lengthen through your spine as you press your thighs back. Move your chest towards the head, and then start rotating even more until both sides of your chest are turning all the way to the right. Then put your right hand down where your left hand was. Take an inhale, move the chest forward, and then on the exhale, left arm goes up, turning and twisting the entire chest so that it's facing the left. Inhaling and exhaling, the thighs are pressing back, the low belly's pulling in. As you press the right hand down, you can lengthen the spine more towards your neck and head and turn and twist even more, rotating the spine. And then put your hands, both of them, to the floor and walk back through your legs, grab your ankles, and more advanced, you can scoop up the outer edges of your feet with your fingers, put your forehead on the floor. Otherwise, hold your ankles, put the crown of your head on the floor. And let's take 1 more breath, all the way in and all the way out. Walk your hands towards the top of the mat, turn the right foot forward, and then step back and lower slowly all the way down to the mat. Keep your hands right in line with the sides of your chest. Tops of your feet come down. Deep inhale breath. Bhujangasana Cobra. Curl the chest up. Shoulder heads back. Head up, head back. Look up. And then exhale. Tuck your toes and press up and back into downward facing dog. 2 breaths. Look to the space between your hands. And we're going to walk our way up to Uttanasana, forward fold, but we're going to high step it. So take your left leg and lift it skyward, high as you can. And then as you place that foot back down, place it so it's in line with your right big toe, but keep it in line with the left hip, so we're not crisscrossing the legs. Lift up the right leg, way up. If you want, come on the ball of your left foot to lift your right leg higher. And then place that right foot down, in line with the right hip and in line with that left big toe. And continue. Left leg goes up, high as you can, straight leg. and then place it back down. And we're slowly high stepping our way up to the top of the mat. And those of you who are more advanced, who want to play with handstanding as you're walking up, lifting the leg, maybe floating the other foot off the floor, just making our way up into Uttanasana, deep forward bend. Once we get all the way up, you may find that getting into your forward bend this way created a lot of awareness as to how much you may need to bend your knees in order to forward fold with a fully extended spine. And then allow your spine to come into what is called flexion, where the low back is a bit rounded, the mid back is a bit rounded, but the shoulder blades are drawn back. Use your hands pressing down to pull your shoulder blades away from your neck. If you have a back issue or you're pregnant, you're going to leave your hands onto the ground. Otherwise, you're going to grab opposite elbows and put the thumbs into the creases of your elbows, and we're turning the head left and right in a no motion, nodding the head in a yes motion, taking the head around in little circles, going in both directions. Stilling your head and switching out your grip so the other forearm is in front. And now we're going to move our hips from side to side. So bend alternate knees, hips go left, torso goes right, and vice versa, back and forth, side to side. Keep your weight even across your feet as well as you're able, and take a little bit of weight forward towards your toes so that your hips are aligning over your ankle bones. Stillness in the center line. Hang the arms to the ground like a rag doll. Back injuries, pregnancies, keep your feet hip distance apart. Bend your knees and walk your hands up your bent legs. Otherwise, toe heel your feet so they come side by side. Hit your thighs back, tuck your tail down, and slowly round yourself all the way upright. Draw your shoulders down and back twice and come all the way to the top of your mat. Bring your hands to heart center. Connect with your breath. Breathing evenly in and out. On an inhale breath, eyes are open. Lift the arms upward towards the sky. Urdhva Hastasana, upward hands. Exhalation, bow forward. Uttanasana, forward bend. Keep your head relaxed. Step your left foot back. Put your knee down, top of your foot down. Bring the arms up and back into low lunge. Hands go to the mat, step back, and lower all the way down to the ground. Tops of your feet down, hands move 12 inches forward. Inhalation, low cobra. Hands back, tuck the toes. Exhalation, downward facing dog. Take the left foot, step it forward. Coming into your low lunge, arms are up and back. On the exhale, step up and forward bend. Inhalation, rise and arc it back. On the exhale, bow down. Head is relaxed, right side, knee goes down. Arms are up and back, low lunge. Step back and lower all the way down to the ground. Move those hands 12 inches forward, tops of feet down. Inhalation, low cobra. Pull the hands back, tuck the toes. Exhalation, downward facing dog. Take your right foot, step it forward, coming into the deep low lunge. Exhalation, forward bend at the top of the mat. Inhalation, rise and arc it back. Exhale, bow it down. Left side, knee goes down. Low lunging. Hands to the mat, step back and lower all the way down to the ground. Bring your forearms to the ground, tops of feet down. Inhalation, curl the chest up, sphinx. Pull the hands back, tuck the toes. Exhalation, downward facing dog. Left foot steps forward, deep, low lunge. Exhale, forward bend at the top of the mat. Inhalation, rise and arc back. On the exhale, bowing down. Right side, knee goes down. Step back and lower all the way to the floor. Lay the forearms down, tops of feet down. Inhalation, curl up into sphinx. Exhalation, press up and back into downward facing dog. Right foot comes forward, deep low lunge. Exhale and forward bend at the very top. Inhale, rise, arc a little further back. On the exhale breath, bowing it down. Left side, knee goes down, low lunge. Hands to the mat, lower all the way down to the floor. This time, keep your hands where they are, tops of feet down. Inhalation into cobra. Exhalation into downward facing dog. Left foot comes forward for the deep low lunge. Come up, forward bend, work for straighter legs. On the inhale, rise, arc it way back. Exhale, bowing down, right side, knee goes down. Step back and lower all the way to the floor. Inhalation for cobra. Exhalation to downward facing dog. Taking right foot, stepping it up, deepen your lunge. Exhale and forward bend at the very top. On the inhale, rising, arcing back. Exhalation, bow back down. Left side, knee goes down. Step it back and lower all the way to the floor. This time, bring your hands wide, high on the fingertips. Curl it up into auspicious cobra. On the exhale, press up and back into downward facing dog. Left foot steps forward, deep low lunge. Coming up and forward, bending at the top. Rise and arc it back. Exhalation, bowing down. Right side, knee goes down. Stepping back, we lower all the way to the floor. Take those hands wide, high on the fingertips. Curl it up. Auspicious cobra. Exhalation, press it on back into downward facing dog. Taking that right foot and stepping it forward, coming into your deep low lunge. Coming up and forward, bending at the top. Rise and arc back. Exhalation, bow. Left side, knee goes down. Step it back, lower all the way to the floor. Go wide and high on the fingertips. Curl it up and hold that pose. We're going to take the left shoulder down and look over to the right. Inhale, center line. Right shoulder down, looking to the left. Inhale, come center. And on the exhale, press it back into downward facing dog. Left foot steps up, deep low lunge. Come up and forward bend at the top. Rise and arc it back. Exhalation, bowing down. Right side, knee goes down. Stepping back, lower all the way to the floor. Taking the hands wide, high, curl it up, hold. Right shoulder down, look to the left. Inhale, center. Left shoulder down, look to the right. Inhale, center line. Exhalation, press it back into downward facing dog. Taking that right foot and stepping it forward. Low lunging. Forward bending at the very top. Inhale, rise, arc it back. Exhalation, bowing down. Left side, knee goes down. Step it back and hold, high push-up plank. Move your left hand and your left foot to the center line of the mat. Stack your right foot on top of your left for Vashisthasana. If you need to modify the pose, put the knee down. Otherwise, you can add variations. You can lift your top leg up. You can hold your big toe. We're holding here for 5, 4, 3, 2, high push-up plank. Elbows go straight back, chaturanga. Hover above the floor if you can. Inhale, up dog. Otherwise, do the cobra. Exhale, press it up and back into downward facing dog. Take that left foot, step it forward, low lunge. Come up and forward bend. Rise and arc back. Exhalation, bowing down. Right side, knee goes down. Step it back and hold, high push-up plank. Right hand, right foot, center line, stack, turn, open, Vashisthasana. Mirror match your sides. Modify if you need to. Otherwise, add the same variation and hold 5, 4, 3, 2. High push-up plank, elbows straight back, chaturanga. Inhalation, big chest, curl the chest up. Exhalation, press it back into downward facing dog. Right foot comes up, low lunging. Exhale to forward bend at the top. Inhale, rise and arc back. Exhale, bow down. Left side, knee goes down. Step back, lower, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhalation, downward facing dog. Take the left foot and step it forward, low lunge. Forward bend at the top. Rise and arc back. Exhale, bow down. Right side, knee goes down. Step it back and lower, chaturanga. Inhalation for upward facing dog. Exhalation to downward facing dog. Take that right foot, step it forward, low lunge. Forward bending at the top of the mat. Inhale, rise, arc back, and on the exhale breath, bowing down. 2 more rounds. Left side, knee goes down. You can do this. Hands to the mat. lower chaturanga. Inhale, curl the chest, upward dog. Exhalation, downward facing dog. Left foot steps forward. Come up to the top of the mat. Inhale, rise, arc back. Exhale, bow down. Right side, knee goes down. Keep breathing. Step back and lower chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. Taking that right foot up, low lunge. Come up, forward bend at the top. Rise and arc it back, and on the exhale, bow down. Last round, left side, knee goes down. Stay with it. Step back and lower chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Left foot steps up, deep low lunge. Come up, forward bend at the top. Rise and arc it back on the exhale, bow right side, last side, knee goes down. Stepping back, lower chaturanga. Inhalation, upward facing dog. Exhalation, downward facing dog. Take that right foot, step it forward. And when you finish up this side, let's all meet at the top of the mat in our deep forward bend. And hold that pose. Taking your feet hip distance apart, wider if necessary. Bend the knees generously. Feel free to take a cleansing breath or two in the nose and out the mouth, helping to reconnect with the breath. And then breathing through your nose only, deeply in and out. You should feel quite a bit different than when we first started. Warmer, breath flowing, more awareness. Sometimes we have a tendency at this point to start complaining, or the thoughts start running around in our brain. Relax, breathe, connect to your breath, and connect to that place within you where your happiness dwells. Breathe into that space. And you can take some variations here if you like. So you're welcome to just hold the forward bend with the hands onto the mat, using hands to press down to pull the shoulders back away from the ground. Or you can interlace behind you, or step onto your palms, toes to wrists, scoop up your heels. If your hamstrings are tight, scoop up your heels in the palms of your hands. If your shoulders, chest feel a little bit tight, interlace behind you, stretch those arms up and over. If your low back aches, you can hold your big toes with your peace fingers. So each variation has a specific purpose. Choose what you need. If your wrists are achy, step on your palms. Let's take 2 more breaths here. And then release your variations and toe heel your feet together unless you're modifying. We're going to move into sun salutation, bees, bending your knees and sitting into an imaginary chair. This is Utkatasana, awkward pose, chair pose, fierce pose, powerful pose. As you sit in your chair, your knees are side by side, feet side by side, pressing into your heels. Arms are up, chest is open, low back is long, tuck that tail under, keep your belly strong. On an inhale, come all the way up, and as you exhale, bow forward. Now look up halfway, and you can step or jump back and lower chaturanga. Inhalation for upward facing dog, exhalation to downward facing dog. Take your left foot and step it forward for warrior 1. Holding this pose, left knee is bending at 90 degrees. Right leg is straight. Outer edge of right foot is onto your mat. Press into both of your heels. Pull in your low belly and square your chest toward the top of your mat. Lift the arms up in line with your side bodies. Take space in between your arms more if you find your arms are not straight or they're coming forward. You want them in line with your sides. More advanced, bring your hands together. Lift your chest even higher and let your head come back. Back of the head, parallel with your mat. Then place your hands down. Step back. Try not to drag your foot. Belly in, lower chaturanga. Inhale for upward facing dog. Exhale into downward facing dog. Taking your right foot forward for warrior 1. Holding this pose. Right knee is bending at 90 degrees. Left leg is straight. Outer edge of left foot is firmly onto the mat, but we're pressing through the heels. From here, square your chest toward the top of the mat, and you want to bring your eyes up, chest up, and take whatever modification you need, or more advanced, bring those hands together, head goes back. Then bring your hands down to the mat, pull in your belly, and step back and lower. Inhalation for upward facing dog and exhalation into downward facing dog. And this is where we start to really appreciate downward facing dog. It really is a rest. So let's take a couple of breaths here, all the way in and all the way out. Keep increasing your strength. You'll find that if you increase the strength in your arms and your legs and your low belly, that your neck can relax more, your spine gets longer, and you can hold the pose easily. Look up and step or jump to the top of the mat. Exhale and fold in. Bending your knees, we're going to sit down into that imaginary chair. Shoot it up, and on the exhale breath, bowing forward. Looking up halfway, come on back, let's lower. Inhalation for upward facing dog. Exhalation to downward facing dog. Taking the left foot up for warrior one. As soon as you're up, come right back down. Flowing through your vinyasa, inhaling up dog, exhaling into downward facing dog. Now taking the right foot forward for warrior one. As soon as you're up, come right back down. Flowing, taking the vinyasa, meeting in the downward facing dog, and we'll take 2 breaths here. Look up and step or jump to the top of the mat. Exhalation and fold in. Bending your knees and sitting down into your imaginary chair. Shoot it up, and on the exhale breath, bowing forward. Look up halfway. Come on back, let's lower. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Taking your left foot forward for warrior one with an open heart. Bend the elbows out to the side and lift the chest through that space. On the exhale, place your hands down, step back and lower. Inhalation, up dog. Exhalation, downward facing dog. Other side, take the right foot, step it forward. Warrior one with a big open heart, bending the elbows, lifting the chest. Exhalation, place the hands down, step back and lower. Inhaling and exhaling, coming into down dog. 3 breaths. Take advantage of what you just worked on in your warrior one with an open heart, and bring some of that open space into your downward facing dog, moving chest closer to thighs. Look up, step or jump to the top of the mat. Exhalation and fold in, bending your knees and sitting down into your imaginary chair. Shoot it up, and on the exhale, bowing forward. Looking up halfway, step or jump back and lower. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale into downward facing dog, holding your downward facing dog. We're going to take the left foot and lift it skyward, and then bring the foot forward in between the hands for Anjayanasana, high crescent lunge. Your left knee is bending at 90 degrees. Your right leg is straight and strong. You're on the ball of your right foot. Arms are upward towards the sky. Chest is open and lifted. Upper body arcing slightly back. And we're going to add a little twist to this. So take a deep inhalation, and on the exhalation, taking the right elbow to the outside of the left thigh. If you need to modify this pose, put that back knee down. Bring your hands into prayer position, hooking that right elbow around the left thigh. And we're going to start to work this pose. So keep increasing the strength into your right leg. Pull your low belly in, up, and back. Take your inhale breath and lengthen the right side body all the way forward, and turn and twist until you get shoulder stacked over shoulder. Look up if you can. Taking one more breath here, turn just another ½ inch, and then unwind. Place your hands to the floor, step back, and flow. Inhalation for upward facing dog. exhalation into your downward facing dog. On the inhale breath, take your right leg skyward and then step that foot in between your hands, coming into vinyasa on the other side. Peel that upper body upright. Amp up your left leg, right knee bending at 90 degrees. Level your hips, pull in your belly, lifting your chest, arms up, chest up, eyes can go up. And then taking that twist, now taking the left elbow to the outside of the right thigh, turning and twisting Parvrita Anjaneyasana, the twisting crescent lunge, putting the hands in the prayer position, hook that elbow deeply over the thigh, amp up your back leg so it's strong, turning your waist and your chest and your shoulders and your neck, taking it around 1 more half inch, and release. Hands go to the floor, step it back and lower. Inhalation, upward facing dog. Exhalation, downward facing dog. Walk your dog a little bit. And then hold your dog, taking 2 more breaths. Looking up and step or jump to the top of the mat. Fold in, bending your knees. Sit down into your imaginary chair. Sit lower. Shoot it up, and on the exhale, bowing forward. Looking up halfway. Come on back, let's lower. This is our last B. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhalation, downward facing dog. Left foot comes up for warrior 1. As soon as you are up, come right back down. Classic warrior 1s. Inhalation, curl the chest up. Exhalation, press back. Take that right foot, step it forward. Warrior 1. As soon as you're up, come back down. And then we'll all meet into the downward facing dog, taking 5 breaths this time. Breathing in and out, holding your down dog. Make some subtle adjustments. And a couple of things to notice are, if your hands on either side of the mat don't look the same, go ahead and make that adjustment. We're never too advanced to check and make sure our alignment is good. Look at your feet, and they should be hip distance, maybe a little bit wider if you're more advanced. And you hide your heels behind your toes. Keep breathing. Engage your arms fully, legs engaging, kneecaps lifted into the thighs, lower belly is in, neck relaxing. Ultimately, in your down dog, your heels and your head will come to the floor. Let's take 1 more deep breath. Focus and concentrate on your breath. Then look up and step or jump to the top of the mat. Fold in, bend your knees. Sit down in your imaginary chair, best chair yet. Shoot it up and bring your hands to your heart. Now we're nice and warm. Grab a quick sip of water if you need it. Grab whatever props that you may need, because after we've warmed up, we have a much better idea about how we're feeling, how we're doing, and you may find that you need a strap, you need a block. If you have a bolster, you can grab that. And then we'll continue into the rest of our practice. Come to the top of the mat. Bring your hands to heart center. Reconnect with that place within you of happiness, of truth. Just enjoying being here in this moment. And on an inhale, raise your arms upward towards the sky. And as you exhale, bow forward. Look up halfway and then step or jump back and lower. Inhalation, upward facing dog. Exhalation, coming into downward facing dog. Take a breath. We're going to take our hands and walk them back towards the feet. So you'll end up at the back of your mat. And round all the way up. And once you're upright, set up in Tadasana, mountain pose. Toes, heels, ankles touching, strong legs, strong belly, lifted chest. And we're going to go into a pose called Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana. It means standing up holding your big toe. Now engage into your right leg and lift your left thigh up parallel with the floor, and take your left arm down the inside of your left leg, and with your middle and index finger, your peace fingers, grab hold of your left big toe. Then stand upright, holding on to the big toe. If you need to modify this pose, you hold on to your knee, or you can put a strap around your foot, but hold close to the foot on the strap. You don't want a lot of space in between your hand and the foot. You want to get as close as you can. And then send the leg forward. And then on the exhale, breath out to the left. And you can extend your right arm out to the side to lift your left leg higher. Bend your elbow and lift the leg higher. If you're feeling sassy, look over the right shoulder. Then bring the leg center. Keep the leg up. And we're going to move into Garudasana, eagle. So cross your left leg over your right leg. Bend that right knee, cross the leg over, and take the left arm underneath the right. And if you can do all of this at the same time, that is phenomenal. So getting into your eagle pose. Start to fly your eagle forward, squeezing. Keep re-engaging your thighs. You can do this. Then gently come upright, uncross the left leg and send it back. Release the arms forward, coming into warrior 3. So you're standing on that right leg, arms extended forward, leg extending behind you. Levelize your hips. One more breath, stabilize. Hands go to the mat, leg stays up, coming into standing split. Breathe. Take a moment here, taking your standing split in a passive way. Hands are on the floor out in front of the foot. Leg is lifting, but not quite as high as it possibly could, not yet. And connect with your breath. Take an inhale and start moving the chest more deeply down your standing leg. As you exhale, lift the leg in the air, upward towards the sky. Walk your hands back closer to standing foot. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhalation, drag the chest down the thigh. Exhalation, send that leg skyward. More advanced, you can take your left hand, hold behind your left calf. Put your forehead onto your shin. Taking 1 more breath here. Then step your feet side by side. Fold in. Bend the knees and sit down into an imaginary chair. Shoot it up, and on the exhale, bow down. Let's take our vinyasa. Inhalation, upward facing dog. Exhalation, downward facing dog. Walk your hands towards the back of your mat. Hands coming toward feet. And then round all the way upright, standing up tall. Let's do the other side. Now engaging your left leg, take your right thigh up parallel with the floor. Take your right arm, bring it down the inside of your right leg. Take your peace fingers, middle and index, hook them around your big toe, or modify holding the knee or using your strap. Stand upright. Chest needs to be open. If your chest is hunching forward, you need to modify the pose. Pull in the low belly, stand up taller. Take an inhale. On the exhale, leg goes forward. On your next exhale, take your leg out to the right. Keep re-engaging your standing leg. Bending the elbow to lift the leg higher. Left arm counterbalances. Feeling sassy, look over that left shoulder. Then bring the leg to center, eyes center. And we're going to move into Garudasana, trying to bring the leg over and the arm under at the same time. So we're taking that right leg, left knee is bending, up and over the left leg. Wrap the foot as you're able. And you have your right arm coming under the left arm. Crossing at the elbow, the wrist, fly that eagle forward. Focus and breathe. Deeper, lower. The lower you go, the easier it is to hold. Then gently unwinding, taking the leg and sending it back, unwinding the arms and stretching them forward, coming into your warrior 3. Arms reaching up and forward, leg reaching back, level the hips, pull in the belly. One more breath here. Get stronger, longer. Hands go to the mat, leg goes up in the air, that leg is still up. Coming into your standing split, taking a moment, connecting with the breath. We're not in a rush, and nothing can steal our happiness. This is a choice. Breathe into that space and start walking your hands back. More advanced, you can take the heel of your right hand right up underneath your calf. You press the shin a little forward, engage the thigh, press it further back, lift the leg in the air, through the ceiling, toes touching the sky, forehead to shin. One more breath. Go to your deepest, and then step those feet side by side. Fold in, bend the knees and sit down in your imaginary chair. Shoot it up, and on the exhale, bow down. Look up halfway. Come on back, let's lower. Inhalation, upward facing dog. Exhalation, downward facing dog. Taking 2 breaths. We're going to move into a pose where we bring our arm underneath our leg and our ear towards our ankle. Don't get scared. It's a great pose. It's an incredible hip opener. But let's take our time. So lower down onto your hands and your knees and bring your left foot forward and bring your upper body upright. So now you have your left foot out in front and that thigh is parallel to the floor and your right knee is down. Take your left foot and move it over about 4 to 6 inches. Give yourself some space. Taking your left arm down the inside of your leg and then under the leg and placing your hand palm down 6 inches outside of left foot. Now lower your right forearm onto the floor and grab hold of the top of your left foot with your right hand and relax your head. For some of you, this is going to be enough. Be here. Back your hips up a little bit. You don't want your head really coming forward of your forearm. Those of you who are more advanced, tuck your back toes and straighten your back leg. Those of you who are able to go even deeper than this, you're going to turn the outer edge of your right foot down like we do in Warrior 1. So you're going to have high hips and you're going to lengthen that spine all the way down towards the floor. Let's take one more deep breath here. Pull that left hip in, right hip forward, low belly in, neck long. Gently, slowly release, step back, and take a vinyasa. Inhalation, upward facing dog. Exhalation, downward facing dog. Come down on your hands and knees. Take your right foot, bring it forward. Now you're on your right foot at a 90-degree angle, thigh parallel to the floor, left knee is down. Upper body comes upright. You're going to take your right arm and lace it underneath your right leg. Then take your hand and place it 6 inches, palm flat, fingers spread wide on the outside of that ankle and foot. Take your left arm, lay your forearm onto the ground, hold the top of your right foot with your left hand. Back knee can stay down. You can tuck your toes and lift that knee up, or take it all the way, outer edge of that foot onto the mat, high hips, long spine, much more advanced. And the deeper we go into these poses, the more benefits. So it's not to look fancy, it's so that you actually increase the amount of benefit that you're receiving in your body, in your mind, in your soul. Let's take 2 more breaths here. Breathe into those tight spots, go towards them. That right hip is in, low belly is in, neck is long. And release. Step back and take the vinyasa. Lowering down. Inhale for upward facing dog. Exhale into downward facing dog. Taking a breath. Come down onto your hands and your knees. Press back into either active child's pose or classic child's pose, balasana, where your knees are together, feet are together, and your hands come next to your ankles with palms up, forehead is on the mat. The active child's pose is the pose we started the entire sequence in, with the arms out in front, with the knees wide. You choose. Take a couple of breaths. We're going to go upside down. Here are your options. If you're a beginner, you're newer, and you don't stand on your head yet, forearms, hands, then don't worry, because there's plenty of things that you can do. And again, we want to get the benefit. So it's not how fancy we look. The legs just need to be above the heart. You can lie on your back with your legs up. You can take a block and put it underneath your sacrum and lift your legs up. What I designed for this sequence was to take what is called Sirsasana 2, and that is the tripod headstand. If you know how to stand on your head in a tripod position, you go up into that. You can also do Sirsasana 1, which is when you hold the head with the elbows on the floor, which is more support for the neck. So you decide what is appropriate for you here and go up, and we'll be up for 1 minute. When we take inversions, especially if we do a lot of twisting, we need to do inversions, but inversions are typically included in all of the classes. The benefits are endless. It increases the circulation to your brain. It helps to relax the nervous system. It helps to reverse the effects of gravity on all of your internal organs. You get clarity of mind. It also gives you different perspective, and it alleviates the tension from your lower extremities. You know, your heart works really hard to pump blood up all day long from your lower extremities. So your heart is really happy right now. And if that's the space where you hold your happiness, breathe really deeply in your heart. And we'll be here for just a bit more. Good. And then slowly make your way down. And we want to take about 3 breaths. One of the ways to remember what to do with inversions is if you're up for a minute, you take 2 breaths. For every minute you're up, you take 2 breaths when you're down. And I don't mind taking an extra breath or 2. Slowly, once you've taken about 3 breaths, ease your way upright and lie down on your back. We're going into wheel. You can also do bridge here if you don't do the wheel yet, or if you just feel like doing a bridge. Sometimes if you're practicing, for instance, in the early morning and you're not really feeling super open yet, then you want to be kind to your body. Take a bridge, and then maybe later take a wheel when you practice in the evening. So for wheel, turn your fingers towards your heels. Feet are hip distance apart, wider if necessary. Knees should come a little toward each other, so that's a good way to know if you are going to do a good wheel. And this works for bridge as well. So take your feet wide enough that you can feel like your knees kind of come toward each other. Then take an inhale to chest, and on the exhale, lift all the way up. And for bridge, you just lift your hips, keep your shoulders down. In bridge, don't move your head. And we're going to take a few breaths here. We don't hold back bends quite as long at all as we hold forward folds or some of the other type poses. And then come down and rest and take a breath, but we are going to go up one more time. So set yourself up, fingers towards heels, elbows pointing towards the ceiling. Take an inhale breath to the chest, and on the exhale breath, come all the way up. You can adjust while you're here. And the more you engage your belly and your thighs, almost acting like you were going to stand up out of the pose, the more you can open up your chest. Once you engage your legs a whole bunch, your chest will actually start opening really, really well. And then lower. Put your feet together and your knees to open into Supta Baddha Konasana and take a couple of breaths. Try not to fidget. And when you put your feet together and your knees open, if you find that there's gripping in your groin, move your feet a little bit further away from your pelvis so that you have more space. Deep breaths. Use your hands now on the outsides of your thighs to close your knees together. And we're moving into Kurmasana. So rock and roll yourself up or roll to the side and press yourself up. Kurmasana is the tortoise pose. And earlier in the class, when we did the arm underneath the leg and holding over top of the foot for that hip opening, this is a similar position with your arms, but it's under both legs at the same time. If this is not something you feel is going to work out, then something you need to work towards, you can certainly just sit up with the legs extended out in front and take Paschimottanasana, which is the Western stretch. You'll just reach and grab your feet. So I'll instruct for both. First, I'm going to instruct how to do Kurmasana. So take your feet the width of your mat and bend your knees so that you have some space underneath your knees. Take your arms underneath your legs and send your hands back, okay? The palms face down. From there, you're going to move your legs forward. So your arms go back with the palms facing down, and the legs go forward, and the chest comes towards the floor. You can put your head on the floor. You look like a turtle. Draw the shoulder blades down. Increase the strength in your arms and your legs. Pull in your low belly. For the Western stretch, you're just sitting up. You can reach your arms up above your head, and on the exhale, you come forward, and you can hold the outer edges of your feet or hook your big toes with your peace fingers. Lift the chest one more time, and then fold over the legs so that everybody gets a deep forward bend. Let's take one more breath. And then releasing. To get out of the tortoise, you have to bend your knees and then draw your arms out from underneath. In Paschimottanasana, just sit up. And then slowly round yourself down onto your back for happy baby. Bending your knees, lying on your back, align so that you have your ankles over your knees and your feet are flexed. Grab hold of your feet. You can grab the inside, the outside, you can dive through, depending how flexible you are. But you do not want your shoulders to pop up off of the floor, and your head should not be lifted back. You don't want your chin coming towards the ceiling. You want a nice long neck. So that's really how you judge where you should grab. And we're going to rock east and west into the happy baby. Rocking east and west. And use your low belly strength as opposed to just pulling with your hands on your feet. You'll start learning how to work from these really awesome different areas in your body as well as your mind, making those connections. And it's just so much more comfortable, and you feel so strong and good. And also it feels more controlled as far as, we don't have control what goes on in the outside world, but we have a lot of ability to control what goes on within. Good. And then gently release from there. Place your feet down. Pick up your hips and move them up and over to the left. Pull your knees to your chest. Arms are open to the sides at shoulder height. And then drop your knees over to the right. Inhale, come up through the center. Move your hips over to the right. Pull your knees into your chest and drop your knees over to the left. Supine twist. Inhale, come up through center. Extend your legs. Extend your arms down by your sides. Savasana. Rest. Deep breaths. Let your belly rise and fall. And I'll read to you a little something about happiness in daily life. Just thinking about having a delicious ice cream sundae brings a big smile to your face. This inner knowing that things can be really good. The desire to have a full life is incredibly strong. This is healthy. This way of being and thinking is what leads to happiness. Pursue what you desire and celebrate your daily life. Live your life to the fullest. It is so wonderful to pursue and achieve a happy life. For many of us, this may feel like only a dream. Maybe you've fallen upon difficult times, filled with sadness, despair, disappointment, or fear. You may only feel happy once in a while, and even those times are tainted as you compare them to the rest of your life. Take a moment. Take a few deep breaths. Allow yourself to envision what you truly desire. Let yourself feel the happiness. This happiness is yours.